All right, today we're going to be filming one of the most requested things from us here at Vapor Hunt Technologies, and that is a setup video for one of our wet blast machines. Now behind me is the VH3630. This is in the same 1000 class style cabinet. This is kind of the entry model, if you will, so it doesn't have all the bells and whistles as something like a standard VH1000 would have, but it's still a fully capable cabinet. And again, we're gonna show you exactly how to set this thing up. Let's get into it. All right, so when you actually receive your machine, it's gonna be bolted down to the pallet and it's also gonna be wrapped in plastic wrap. Of course, we went ahead and removed that, and this machine is not actually bolted down. We do absolutely recommend that you take your machine off of the pallet. I'm gonna be leaving it on this pallet for this demonstration. But again, if you were setting this up to be the end user, we absolutely recommend that you take it off of the pallet. Now, inside of your machine, you may have a little bit of a stench. That's just from the antimicrobial agent that we put inside of here to make sure that no fungal growth happens, because we do test these machines as they are leaving our factory. So if you do smell something, that is normal. It's gonna wash out just as you use it. Now, inside your machine, if you order them, you'll also have your closed loop basins. Inside the machine, no matter what, you'll also get your exhaust stack and you will get your media density cup. We'll go over these in just a second. As you take your closed loop out, again, if you got it, this can just be set at the rear of the machine. And we'll go over how to hook this up in a bit. All right, so the first thing I like to do, these will probably be attached to the leg, but go ahead and get your power cord and your foot pedal and set them up in their appropriate place. Which of course, foot pedal goes in front of the machine, and power, you can go ahead and take this back to an outlet. We do recommend that you put this on at least a 15 amp breaker. If you have a 20, that is what we suggest for 115 volt single phase. All right, from there we can go ahead and start attaching the closed loop system. Now, if you have a closed loop system, on this hose, you will actually have the fitting that goes into the closed loop. So that will be on here. If you do not have a closed loop system, you will have this fitting here. Now this is a garden hose thread, so it can just be attached to any normal water hose. This is where your fresh water inlet will come in if you do not have a closed loop system. In this case, we're gonna be setting up a closed loop. The only other difference between a closed loop system and an open loop system when it comes to the 3630 is on this line here, currently it's set up as an open loop system. What that means is there's no Y connector that's spliced into here. Now, if you do order a closed loop machine, that will be in there. I'm gonna go ahead and splice that in and show you how that would attach. So what I want to demonstrate here is if you purchased your machine as open loop and then later down the line decided that you wanted to put closed loop basins on it, again, with the 3630, all you're gonna have to do is take this line right here. I'll splice it somewhere along there. Again, this is after your main air regulator here. We're gonna cut that. Pop our 1/2 inch Y back in here. Pop the Y in. Now we're back to where you would begin if you were just setting up this machine and you did purchase it with a closed loop system. You can go ahead and take this 3/8 line and attach it to the Y. That will be right there. Now, sometimes I do want to mention, when you order a closed loop machine, this reducer right here will be already on the line. It's going to plug directly into that Y. Sometimes the reducer's already in there, so you can go ahead and just plug the line directly in. Now again, when you're setting up your closed loop, this is the main water inlet for the machine. It's got the piece from our diaphragm pump here. All you're gonna want to do is take it and it inserts into this right hole right here. Now, when you're doing this, there is a clip. You can see it going up. That's what actually grabs that fitting that goes in to the pump here. If you do not latch that up, as soon as you put air on your machine, this pump is gonna start pumping as fast as it possibly can and it will flood your shop. That is without a doubt. So again, when you're installing these pumps, you're gonna make sure you firmly press this line in, and then also make sure that you hear the clip make the click noise like this. So once that's in there, you can tug on it a little bit, make sure it's secure. The rest of the basins should have this little piece here. Now, if you did order your machine as closed loop, it may have this already in the ball valve here. If not, you simply just screw this in, and that's just gonna help it overflow a little better. Since we're already here to explain these ball valves, the bottom one is your entire machine change out. So that means if you were looking to change the water and the abrasive out, you'll open it and allow it to flow out. The next ball valve only changes out the water. So it leaves the media inside the machine in case it's not at its end of life yet and you're just wanting to refresh the water. You can open this ball valve and change out the water. The top one is for your overflow. So as you're rinsing, whether it's from your open loop setup, so you're pumping water into the machine, or it's from the closed loop system here, where you're also pumping water into the machine, you can open this at the end and drain that excess water back out. Now, if you have an open loop machine, you're gonna wanna make sure that you put a bucket underneath here or plumb it directly into a floor drain. That way it has somewhere to go. Again, with the closed loop system, you're draining it back into itself. That's why it's called a closed loop system. We're almost done, don't worry. The next thing that we're gonna have to tackle here is your air. Now on a 3630, your main air supply is right here on the front leg. And this is a 1/4 inch NPT inlet. I'm gonna be using a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch push to connect here. So it's 1/4 inch NPT on the back, 1/2 inch push to connect on the front. That's just gonna thread directly in here. Now, depending on how your shop is plumbed, whether you have quick connects or whatever it may be, you can put whatever fitting you'd like to in there. These machines do not ship with a fitting on the front. You will have to put something when it actually reaches your shop into the regulator. As soon as you attach here, you can hook your line in and you're good to go. Now, one thing to keep into consideration, I do not want to actually connect the air to my machine and turn it on until I have water in that back basin. Because again, that pump is gonna start pumping as soon as it has air, and if there's no water, it's just gonna run continuously. So at this stage, we can go ahead and add our water to our machine. Now, when you're adding water to your machine, one thing that I like to do is go ahead and open the ball valve. It's gonna flow into your top basin there. That way, if you do go a little high, you'll know it. And that's also a good way to know when you filled it up to the correct amount. I typically like to lift the floor and just go ahead and let it flow. Make sure all of your ball valves are closed before you do this. You can look back here, you can see our bottom ball valve is closed, our middle ball valve is closed. We're leaving our top ball valve open here. But make sure everything but the top ball valve is closed. And now we wait. One thing I do want to mention is when you are filling up a machine, absolutely add your water first. Do not add your media first. If you do, it will hard pack and it can damage your pump. It also just will not pump in general. So again, make sure you add your water first, then add your media. So as you guys can see, we're starting to trickle over at this point. That means we can go ahead and begin filling our basins. I typically like to let the machine equalize. That way we don't overfill anything. You do always want to keep an eye on your water level on the inside to make sure you don't get it too high to where you overfill your basins. But this is the easiest way to keep an eye on filling up your machine. So again, I'll let this equalize and then I'll fill this up to its appropriate amounts. All right, now the machine has equalized. So I can go ahead and begin filling this basin. It's gonna actually stop filling up once you reach the top of this overflow here. So just fill it up to that point. And then this bottom basin, you can fill it up about 1 to 2 inches from the top, and then you're done. All right, at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and add our air line to the machine. We can go ahead and turn this on. You're gonna wanna keep your front regulator between 60 and 100 PSI. And what you just heard right there was your diaphragm pump on the closed loop system priming. Again, if you do not have a closed loop system, you won't hear that. It'll just be your direct garden hose connection. Let's see, right now, I'm about 80 PSI. So I'm just gonna leave it there and you're good to go ahead and turn the machine on. Now, the last thing you can do is to go ahead and add your exhaust vent to the top. And that goes up there just like that. Now, if you do want to plumb this thing in, if you're doing some sort of clean room, or just go ahead and put that out to the exhaust, that's where you can tie it in. But in most shops, the exhaust vent just like that's perfectly fine. Now, the last thing I want to talk about involves this little cup, but that's actually adding media to your machine. The way that I like to go about this is make sure that all of your ball valves on the back are closed, or if you have a machine with a pinch valve, you can step on the foot pedal and make sure that it's closed. But you can actually lift up your floor and dump the media directly into the hopper. What this saves you from doing is having to sit there and wash the media down when it's on top of the floor. It's really just a time-saving measure. But to explain the cup here, what this is for is once that's done, make sure that you turn the air off to your machine. So get it to 0 PSI. You can actually go ahead and just disconnect it completely, but you're gonna wanna step on the foot pedal, allow your media to agitate for at least 30 seconds. And once that's done, you can actually take the blasting gun, put it inside this cup, allow it to flow on the inside for a little bit, and then stop. And what will happen is after you stop, it will actually separate the water from the media. You can tell what percentage of media to your water that you're running in the machine. Now, we recommend anywhere from a 20 to 30% mixture inside the machine for optimal results, and that may change depending on what spec you are looking for. Again, our sales team can help you figure all that out. They can also help you figure out what media to be putting these things and what pressure to run. So if you guys have any questions, whether it's related to setup or related to media selection or anything further, you can always call us at 828-202-5563. Remember, there are no dumb questions. We will try our best to answer anything that you call us with. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.